The defending Grey Cup champions are one loss away from playoff elimination. The Bombers can get their revenge with a win over the Stampeders tonight.
The definition of victory is the overcoming of an enemy's success in a struggle against all odds. Victory not an option for the Stamps tonight.
Tonight, a full moon over McMahon. And in the CFL, that means anything can happen. It's 8 degrees, a southeast breeze from right to left across your television screen at 13K.
Dave Ritchie's Winnipeg Blue Bombers haven't looked back since coming from behind to beat Calgary in Week 9. They've won 4 of their last 6 and can still catch Edmonton for first place in the West.
Wally has never missed the playoffs in 12 years on the Stampeders sideline. Season 13, though, might be unlucky. The odds look a little long for Calgary tonight. Well, let's get it underway. 3 weeks to go in the CFL, and not much has been settled so far. Antonio Warren has the return, and he's out near the 35, 27 yards on the return there. The change has come at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders. After 15 weeks, Marcus Crandall will watch from the sidelines, and Ben Sankey gets the start tonight.
Well, Marcus Crandall had his worst outing of the season versus the BC Lions a week ago, and it was time for a bit of a shakeup after that performance versus BC. Crandall will wear the baseball hat, and Ben Sankey gets to wear the helmet. Now, Sankey admitted this week that he doesn't have complete control of the Calgary Stampeder offense yet, but Wally has a ton of confidence in Ben Sankey going back to last year, where Sankey had 5 starts, threw 14 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions.
Jacques Chapdelaine has been in the midst of some controversy over the problems that the Stampeders offense had throughout parts of this season, but particularly last week when the owner came down on the offensive coordinator. We're back for another kickoff because the Bombers were offside, so they get to do it again. And this time it'll be Wayne McGarity returning for Calgary. And McGarity is out to about the 35, a 17-yard return there. So Ben Sankey at the controls for Calgary tonight. The outside receivers will be Peterson and McGarity. Inside, Travis Moore limping a little bit, and Camille Loudon to run the ball. Kelvin Anderson up front. Jamie Crysdale is playing his 166th consecutive game. Phelan and Childress are the tackles on the outside.
All eyes on Travis Moore. He's nowhere near 100%, but basically sucking it up for this one. He has to be in the lineup for that Calgary offense to click.
And his health has been a major for the Stampeders all season long. Along the ground for about a yard there.
Well, it should be tough slugging for the Calgary Stampeders along the ground because of this front 7. The best in the league versus the run, giving up just 83.7 yards per game heading into this week. Here is your secondary, the safety Tom Europe. The big hitter is Harold Nash at the halfback. Corners Marvin Coleman and Glenn Davis. That front 7, and especially the front 4, Denny Fortney, Doug Brown, and Noki Brechterfield. David Benefield will also rotate in. Pretty tough against the run.
From the shotgun on 2nd and 9, Sankey in some difficulty already. Got it away. Kelvin Anderson couldn't hang on. And there was pressure there.
Both teams wanting to try and establish the line of scrimmage early in this game, and just 4-man pressure. Noki Brechterfield and Wayne Weathers off the edges, forcing Ben Sankey out of the pocket, and then just try and make it up as he goes along, try to dump it off to Kelvin Anderson, and it didn't work out. Calgary has to punt early in this one.
Brechterfield with a big charge on 2 plays in the opening sequence, so Duncan Omani is in, standing back near his 20-yard line at about the 22. Coleman, one of 2 deep for the Blue Bombers, standing back near the 30. Now Marcus Howell has moved up, so it's only Coleman back to accept Omani's kick. It's a good one at the 25. The ex-Stampeder, Marvin Coleman, drops at the 30.5. It's Wendy's CFL Live from McMahon.
Jim Young played 13 seasons in the CFL. The brilliant receiver caught 522 passes for 9,249 yards and 65 touchdowns. The two-time divisional All-Star was the British Columbia Lions' most outstanding 1967, 69, and 1972. Young was voted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 1991.
The Bombers on a nice little roll over the past couple of weeks with back-to-back wins over the Saskatchewan Roughriders, taking aim at clinching a playoff spot here against the Stampeders tonight. Kahari Jones with a first down at the 30 and completes to Arlen Bruce, the third, with a penalty marker down. Arlen Bruce and Marcus Howell on one side, and on the other side it'll be Milt Stegall and Jeff Drover as the receivers. Charles Roberts in the backfield to run the ball for the Blue Bombers tonight, and the offensive line has had a few changes through the season. It'll be Jones and Mudge at the tackle spots tonight.
All eyes on Milt Stegall, who needs 3 touchdowns tonight to pass Alan Pitts for touchdowns receiving in a single season.
Pitts with 21, and the mark of 19 is held by Stegall right now.
You know, and you may think 3 touchdowns for a receiver in one game is kind of wishful thinking. Well, in the last 2, Milt Stegall's had 5.
Illegal substitution called against the Bombers, so this is 1st and 20 for Kahari Jones. Onto the cover, he has Charles Roberts away from 1, and he stopped near the 28 by Cooper.
Well, this front 7 now has the responsibility to either take Mike Sellers, the big power back, or the little guy, Charles Roberts. That's easier said than done. Here's the secondary that will have to try and handle Milt Stegall, and it comes down on Kelly Malvol and Jason Bray. They'll see a lot of Stegall in this one tonight, but Alondra Johnson, the leader in there, and he's got to inspire this team. If they don't play hard tonight, they never will.
There you go. The starting lineup brought to you by Midas. See Midas for all your car care needs. This is 2nd down, about 13 to go. It's Roberts again. Back-to-back catches for Roberts. Wrapped up in a hurry for the 2nd time in a row, and that's the newcomer at linebacker, Joe Cooper out of Ohio State, making his debut tonight.
Yeah, Joe Cooper up there in a hurry, has never played in a professional football game, and coming out of Ohio State, good credentials as linebacker and college program, and good quickness and speed to go and corral Charles Roberts. The question for Joe Cooper in this game will be his conditioning. How will he be playing in the 4th quarter?
Bob Cameron is in. McGarity is back for the Stampeders. Not deep by Cameron. One hop to Wayne McGarity. And there are Bombers surrounding him near the 44-yard line. 3 on the return. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Calgary. On first down, the Stampeders come up well short as Kelvin Anderson picked up only a yard. Anoki Brechterfield was there to make the tackle.
Offensive coordinator Jacques Chapdelaine still trying to establish the run. They're going to keep trying to establish the run to Kelvin Anderson, even though they're playing against this Winnipeg front 7, awful tough to run against. But you have to continue to try and pound away up in the middle, especially when you got a guy like Kelvin Anderson, who, once again, over 1,000 yards on the season.
Kelvin Anderson did not have a big game against the BC Lions last week, but neither did any of the Calgary Stampeders offensively. I thought Wally Buono's comments were rather apropos. If anybody was happy with anything, they didn't see the game. And that was the loss to the BC Lions that really put the Calgary Stampeders in a deeper hole. Because had they been able to win that, they still had a pretty good chance of making the playoffs. Now, the odds are very long without question. On 2nd down, Sankey missed his target. Travis Moore, a 3-time All-Canadian, has been in and out of the lineup this season and hampered by injuries almost all the way, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Ben Sankey going right to Travis Moore, who really couldn't shake Harold Nash on the play. Sankey, you know, admitted that he didn't know the playbook from cover to cover, but he knows enough to be able to execute the offense, in his opinion, and it was time for a shakeup. And of course, he knows the Calgary Stampeders and the tradition here in Calgary that's been established over 13 years under Wally Buono.
Coleman is deep, standing back at the Blue Bomber 20. O'Mani gets behind this one and sends Coleman back inside the 10. Nice return. He's out near the 25 and stopped there by Alondra Johnson after a 17-yard return. Number 17, Ben Sankey gets the start for the Stampeders here tonight. Let's bring in Lisa Hillary.
Well, John, talking with players over the last couple of days, they said the quarterback Ben Sankey brings a ton of energy to the game, something that this team has lacked this season. They also said that Crandall and Sankey are both very different quarterbacks in the huddle, but all in all, they're looking forward to the change, and hopefully some of that energy will filter through on the rest of this Calgary Stampeder team tonight. Back up to you guys.
All right, Lisa, 1st and 10, Blue Bombers beginning at the 25. Charles Roberts. Third time he's had his hands on the ball tonight, and that's a first down, Winnipeg.
Roberts with good speed to the outside. When he hit the hole, watch him change speeds. Here he's in about 3rd gear. Now he sees that hole open, one cut, and that's where the acceleration comes. He runs right past Alondra Johnson and into the secondary where Bray and Greg Freres have to try and pull him down.
He averages 5.3 yards per carry.
And the last time these two teams played, Charles Roberts had over 300 all-purpose yards.
17 yards the gain there. It'll be 1st and 10, Winnipeg at the 43. Roberts again, left side this time. Cuts it back in, breaks the tackle there, and somehow found the 50-yard line for a 7-yard gain. Alondra Johnson making the tackle.
You know, it's difficult if you're trying to defend against the Winnipeg Blue. You got Charles Roberts, who, you know, he's going to run at you from the middle and has the speed to the outside. You're always worried about Milt Stiegel, the slot back position, and Arlan Bruce in the opposite side slot back position.
That's a lot of weapons.
So you got all those weapons. Who do you double team? Who do you try and take away? If you take away one, there's someone else there to beat you.
This will be 2nd down after a 7-yard gain. And somehow that got through for Stiegel. Now they rule it no catch. Stiegel thought he had the ball. And so did Kahari Jones. Another peek.
Well, Kelly Malvo gets the coverage responsibility, and it looked like that one did one hop to Stiegel and did a nice job of trying to cover it up.
He sold it fairly well.
Sold it well. Kahari Jones wanted the call, didn't get it, and it was a good call by the officials on the spot.
So it'll be 3rd down. Winnipeg from the 50, and Cameron is in again.
Number 6, for the Bombers, Bob Cameron back.
Antonio Warren, one of 2 deep for the Stampeders. Nice punt by Cameron. There's Antonio Warren with McGarity in front, and Warren is grabbed from behind. 10 on the return. Mike Sellers coming up to make the tackle. So Kelvin Anderson may rest a series here. Over 1,000 yards, 7 straight seasons in the CFL.
Well, Antonio Warren does get a few series in the game. Kelvin Anderson, last time we were here, went over 1,000, and that was his 2nd consecutive. That's a CFL record. And those 7 years, the only 7 that Kelvin Anderson's been in the CFL.
Has never missed. Sankey to his right, throwing on the run. That one is tipped and underthrown.
But we will see series with Antonio Warren in the game, and Antonio Warren's in the game now. That's the 2nd time that Sankey has tried to go to Travis Moore, who really is having trouble trying to shake the coverage. Warren will provide the quickness from the running back position and maybe a little breakaway speed. Kelvin Anderson is reliable and very consistent, pounds it up in there. We'll
a little
get
more powerful.
Yeah, we'll get you 4 or 5, but Antonio Warren has that breakaway speed, and boy, the Calgary Stampeders need some big plays tonight.
It was Brian Clark getting a hand on that pass from Ben Sankey, so this is 2nd and 10. Sankey gets more heat, and the Bombers will come at him all night long. Denny Fortney, number 90, was there.
Yeah, Denny Fortney, right here, number 90. He's on your screen, going around on the outside on Bobby Singh. Sankey trying to, for the 3rd time in a row, get outside and try and run with the football, look for a receiver on the run, and Fortney shutting the door.
7th sack this season for Denny Fortney. And the Bombers, of course, the Calgary Stampeders into the end zone for this third down punt. Coleman back around midfield. O'Mani just got it away. And it's a little short, stopping almost dead at the 45, a 34-yard punt. So the Blue Bombers win on the exchange. And look how close they came there.
Brad Yamoka, inches away.
The CFL Canadian Player of the Week, brought to you by Discount Car and Truck Rentals.
BC Lions wide Ryan Thelwell is the Canadian of the Week. The second-year CFLer caught 5 passes for 79 yards and this touchdown in his team's win over Calgary last week.
Discount Car and Truck Rentals, the official car and truck rental company of the CFL and Grey Cup. For reservations, call 310-CARS.
Well, welcome back. It'll be a special day Sunday on TSN. Wendy's CFL Live, a doubleheader. Hamilton and Montreal first, and then Ottawa at Toronto. A special day at Skydome. Muhammad Ali for the greatest good will be the title of the telecast that day, and the pledge lines are already open, as you heard on the pregame show. There's the number to call to donate to a very worthy cause. 1-866-565-4-ALI. We'll have special guests joining us at Skydome. Evander Holyfield, WBC World Heavyweight Champion Lennox Lewis, and Muhammad Ali live and in person. Here's Charles Roberts. Down to the 25. James Cotton made the stop.
You know, talked about over 300 yards the last time these two teams played from Charles Roberts. That included the return game on just receiving and running the football. In other words, offensively, he had over 200 yards. Now, he has been hampered a little bit due to injury. Slowed down, I should say, a little bit.
Well, he's been off special teams for about 4 weeks. I mean, that's where Charles Roberts really burst into the Canadian Football League, and he was on special teams much of the early going this season. Picked up 11 yards there, so it's another Bomber first down. And Roberts asks for and gets it again. The leader in all-purpose yards coming in 2,517.
John Avery right on his heels from the Edmonton Eskimos, but you know, with Charles Roberts off the team, his all-purpose yardage pace starts to slow a little bit. You know, but this is the end of the field for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers when it starts to slant downhill in favor of not only Charles Roberts but Milt Stegall.
Here's Kahari Jones to his left. And on target far side, Arlen Bruce had it and dropped it. And then got it back. That's the indication down there near the 20-yard line.
Arlen Bruce working together with Milt Stegall, both basically running the same pattern. Stegall at the bottom of your screen was the deeper of the two. Kahari Jones decides to go up, and that ball definitely on the ground. The Calgary Stampeders just can't buy the big break they needed. This is Arlen Bruce right here. He goes out that way with Stegall on the inside. See the separation he's creating with his great speed on Milo Lewis.
Number 26, Marlborough had a chance at it. First down, Blue Bombers, the touchdown toss into the end zone. And double coverage over there. Stegall can't get to it. It's picked off.
Well, they're discussing it.
Well, they're ruling that Malvo got his hands on it. Lost his helmet, but held on to the ball. The indication from the officials in the end zone was Stampeder ball. Malvo may sign this one. What do you think? There you go. Terrell Owens did it. Kelly Malvo comes prepared too. And you're not impressed?
Not impressed. No, not impressed. Wasn't impressed when Terrell Owens did it. Not impressed now when Kelly Melville did it. Bottom line is you're out there, you're a warrior, you're trying to compete, keep your playoff life alive, and Kelly Melville comes up with a play, lost his helmet, struggles for the football, wins the fight.
Took it away from Milt Stegall.
But the whole pen thing at the end. See, Milt Stegall was arguing that was a simultaneous catch, which would go to the offensive player. Now, they had a long discussion down there, and they may overrule it.
The early indication
The ruling on the play is that we had simultaneous possession on the catch in the end zone. A touchdown has been scored.
Oh, boy. That's the way they ruled it initially in the end zone. If you see the official, he was ruling interception, but it is a touchdown.
You better throw away the Sharpie, Kelly Malville. Well, that's what I thought the discussion was all about from the officials down the end zone. You're right, John. They did indicate it was an interception initially, but they got together in a hurry, and you could see that both the hands of Milt Stegall are in there in the fight against Kelly Malville. And anytime there's a simultaneous catch, the offensive player wins that battle. It's a touchdown for Winnipeg.
So it is overruled. The first indication was interception. Calgary, and won't count. Stegall gets the touchdown, number 20 on the season.
And Milt Stegall is saying to Kelly Malville right now, sign this, baby.
Yeah, sign this. Well, that ball may be worth a little something more now that it's been signed by Malvo, who didn't, in effect, make the catch.
The bottom line is that you can have some fun in the end zone. I mean, I'm from the old school in some ways and think if you ever get there, you should act like you've been there before. But the bottom line is a little celebration the fans enjoy, but that whole thing with Terrell Owens in the pen and now Kelly Malvo with the pen, you got to stop that stuff. And it turns out to backfire in a big way on Kelly Malville, who lost that battle in the end zone with Milt Stegall.
See, there's the indication.
Well, there's no question that the first official on the spot said interception and pointed to Calgary football, but there was a quick meeting, and at the end of that meeting, they made, at the end, the right decision.
Stampeders will try and rebound after giving up the touchdown. This is McGarity. Nice little hole for Wayne McGarity. He's out almost to midfield, stopped in his tracks at the 54. Wayne Weathers over to make the stop after a 40-yard return.
So Kelly Malville,
very quiet on the bench all of a sudden.
Kelly Malville pulled out that pen a little prematurely. Milt Stegall with a touchdown that gives him number 20 on the season. And let's not forget one more. He ties hits. Two more, and he breaks it.
That would be a CFL record for most touchdown receptions in a single season. Stegall currently sitting at 20. Pump fake. Sankey has a man open and overthrew him. Looking for Kamal Peterson.
They had him. Ben Sankey and Kamal Peterson had him. They had Marvin Coleman, and he had bit on the pump fake. Watch the pump fake, Ben Sankey right there. That was a little out move from Kamal Peterson. He had him in behind, but look at the range from Tom Europe. The safety came over in a hurry. Here's the pattern. Number 8, little jab step. You see Marvin Coleman was had, but he got some help from his free safety.
This will be 2nd and 10. Play action fake. Sankey over the middle. This one will be good for a Calgary first down. At the Winnipeg 41, Don Blair makes the catch, and Blair was relegated to a backup role coming into this one.
Well,
Wally makes the catch there.
Wally Buono was not happy with the fact that Don Blair had said that, yes, the players are a little bit concerned with Ben Sankey starting because he didn't know the playbook quite as well as Marcus Crandall, and made a call to the receiver, reminded him that it's not his decision as to who starts at quarterback,
but it's Wally's decision as to who starts at receiver.
It certainly is.
Start. Here's Kelvin Anderson for less than a yard.
So Don Blair gets a little bit of a reprimand and gets the backup role, but you know one thing from Don Blair, that he wants to make amends in the game, and not through what he says, but how he performs. And that's the quickest way to mend the little disagreement between he and the head coach, is to have a...
This will be 2nd and 9. Stampeders right on the Winnipeg 40. Sankey unloads in a hurry. McGarity slanting in, made the catch, but he stopped in his tracks by Ryland Wickman.
third start for Wayne McGarity, and he gets that start on the outside. And, you know, they really have high hopes for McGarity because of his speed. 6 catches for 71 yards in the 2 games previous to this one. He does have 1 touchdown, but they feel like he's got that breakaway speed, something they've missed since Mark Boerichter has left, and all of a sudden playing pretty well in Kansas City, Mr. Boerichter.
He is, isn't he?
Couple of touchdowns.
The other day. Yeah, that was fun to see. Here's Mark McLaughlin in looking for the Stampeders' first points of this evening at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Spotted at the 46 for McLaughlin. Struggled earlier in the season, but McLaughlin has his first of the night, hitting on 65% of his field goals, and Calgary is on the board. Last time these two guys met, the guy on the left, Wally, had a huge lead going into the final 2 minutes, and that was the result. The Bombers back in overtime, 51-48.
17-point lead in the 4th quarter. Arlan Bruce, 4 touchdowns. He had the one to put in overtime and the one to win it for him in overtime. And it was a game that really was a turning point for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, and for the Calgary Stampeders.
In the bad way.
Yeah, absolutely. The good turnaround and the bad turnaround.
Yeah, and that it put them in a hole, but more than anything, I think it broke the spirit of the Calgary Stampeders. It's been tough to come back from. They've lost 4 of their last 6 since that game.
And the tough loss last week, 37-14 to the Lions in Vancouver. Sellers returning for Winnipeg. It was a short kick, and this guy doesn't come down with 1 tackle. Aldi Henry bounced right off him. Well, and Anthony Malbrough brought him down.
And the point of the matter is, that was back in week 9, that game between these 2 teams. And the point of the matter is that it's not just another regular season game. It's never just a regular season game, because they all can be so important. Even if it's week 9 and you win or lose that big one, you come from behind, and it's something that your team starts to believe in themselves. It starts to pull that team together. That's exactly what happened in Winnipeg.
Blue Bombers near midfield, first down. Sellers. And it took 3 Stampeders to bring him down right at the 55.
You know, and you're right, John. It's just been the opposite for the Calgary Stampeders since that game. That was game 2 of a 5-game losing streak. They lost the next 3, including a heartbreaker to the Ottawa Renegades.
And those games against Edmonton, particularly the Labor Day game, I mean, that was close enough for Calgary to win, if I recall that one in particular.
Absolutely, and then the blowout the next week.
Yeah, blowout was Friday night in Edmonton.
Maybe the most disappointing of all of them was that come from behind in Winnipeg, and then last week how poorly the team played.
This is 2nd down. Again. Has had his hands on the ball the last 3 times, and Sellers is brought down from behind there, short of the first down.
Well, Mike Sellers is seeing the ball a lot more over the last couple of weeks just because of the injury to Charles Roberts, and because Charles Roberts slowed down a little bit, they're going to give the ball a little bit more to the big man. And last week, Mike Sellers, 86 yards rushing, awful tough to bring down. And it was a game where the weather and the wind was a factor in Taylor Field. And when you get that big power game going, it can help you when the Mother Nature steps in.
And they went to him quite frequently, 12 carries to get the 86 yards. Here's Bob Cameron on 3rd down, not deep. Antonio Warren steps up. And Warren powers his way to about the 34. A 14-yard return, and Wade Miller leading the Blue Bomber tacklers there. So Ben Sankey, who was the Stampeder starter at the beginning of 2001, gets his start of the season here tonight.
Yeah, 5 starts last year, threw 14 touchdown passes. You know, and I talked to Wally before the game about his quarterback situation. Really, it's Sankey's team now, and if Sankey puts together a good game and a win tonight, he'll go the rest of the way likely. And then they look to next year and what will happen with these 2 quarterbacks. Ben Sankey wants a team he can start with.
Stampeders at the 34, first down.
Number 6,
Antonio Warren off the left side.
You know, and in fairness to both these quarterbacks, John, and the way they've struggled this year, Ben Sankey, of course, a late addition, but the way they struggle, you have to really look at the receiving core. And you know, the quarterback, even though he takes a lot of the credit and takes a lot of the blame, is only as good as the guys blocking for him and the guys catching the ball. Jacques Chapdelaine told me that their receiving core drops 3 to 4 passes, and they're usually big ones.
This should be the last play of the opening quarter. Sankey, a little shovel pass, and flags are down. Antonio Warren made the catch. And all the receivers in this core have taken turns dropping the football. For Calgary, Wayne McGarity is the newest starter.
Calgary 62. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
And that's the end of the opening quarter, with the Stampeders trailing the Blue Bombers in a do-or-die situation in Calgary tonight. Winnipeg on top, 7-3.
Yeah, that was a big field goal by Mark McLaughlin to keep the Stamps in it as we're through one quarter. And just a second here, I'll be right with you. Okay, Maddie, how would you like me to make that out to you? Is it M-A-T? To Maddie. Love Dave.
That's not your ball. That's not even your ball.
Yeah, that's right.
That's Milt Steagle's ball. I tell you what, the Calgary Stampeders got off on the wrong foot. The first series, you see Ben Sankey scrambled out of the pocket, tried to make a play, and didn't get downfield, didn't keep his eyes downfield to hit a wide-open Wayne McGarity. Simple play that a young quarterback's got to make, okay? Slide protection here, looks good at first. Sankey moves here, feels pressure, got to slide here, and keep his eyes downfield. You'll see McGarity come right here. And to me, it's a pretty simple play for a quarterback that's been in there, but Sankey hasn't. And there he is, wide open. Wayne McGarity got a big lane there. Give it to him. Doesn't happen for the young quarterback. Doesn't happen for the Stamps. And what happens? The next 2 series is 2 and out, and then Fortney getting to the young quarterback. The Stampeders not getting up on a good foot, and I think it's, you know, you start messing around with the quarterbacks, Jock, and you're going to have this. In a must-win situation, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Stamps right now.
Well, Matty, I think everyone should go back and have a look again at that one play in the end zone. There's just so much happening on this play. I wish we had 5 minutes to look at it. But, you know, we're going to see the ball up in the air here. And the rule is, folks, that if both the DB and the receiver have control at the same time, tie goes to the receiver. And there you see both players with their balls on the their hands on the football. You know, great play by Stiegel, great play by Malvo, but see the helmet come flying off, and there's Malvo, and the refs are right on top of it. But, you know, Malvo walking away signing the football. I mean, I think Stiegel has every right to go over there and scratch his name off and put his name on there. Malvo.
Oh, wasn't that perfect?
Malvo.
Wasn't that perfect? I mean, you know, I used to think that football was the ultimate team game. I'm starting to doubt it because some of the actions of football players are ridiculous. For a football player to take a pen out and autograph it, meaning you're putting your name on the football, that's ridiculous. It's amateur football. And to all you young kids, don't do that. It's not respected in the football world. If you get a reputation like that, you'll never play football again. That's stupid. It's amateur football.
Yeah, Schultz, be your own man.
Be your own man.
Terrell Owens fan club? Come on, that's selfish.
Stupid.
Guys, I think they made their feelings clear on that whole Sharpie incident.
Yeah, I think Mr.
No
Schultz
question. And I agree
is
with
very
him.
clear. Mr. Suter had already stated that, although not quite as vociferously. From the 22, and flags go down on the Bomber return. That's the 4th time the Stampeders have gone 2 and out. And the second quarter just begins here.
Well, here's your numbers after a quarter. 4 first downs for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You mentioned, John, Stamps a bunch of 2 and outs, so they've got just the 1 first down, not really being able to establish a running game, which will add up in the big picture.
Time of possession, though, equals out a little bit because the Stampeders were able to drive for that field goal from Mark McLaughlin.
Dave Ritchie definitely his sights on first place. Now a lot of things have to work out well for him to make it happen, including winning.
No yards. Calgary 11. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg 81. First down, Winnipeg.
So talking about what the Bombers must do to finish first is really win out. They have this game, obviously, and then a date at Hamilton against the Tiger Cats in the second last week of the season, and they finish up against the Eskimos, who are currently in top spot. So the Bombers need 3 wins to finish first and a little help.
That was another penalty against Winnipeg, though, and that's something they have to change.
Charles Roberts.
You know, you look at the weapons on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Charles Roberts, one of them, and one thing that is a concern of Dave Ritchie is the penalty situation. They average 13 penalties and 112 yards per game. The length of the per game in penalties, worse than the CFL. And in close games, in games down the stretch, maybe that one game to get into first place, it will be that one penalty, or it very likely could be that one penalty that is the difference.
This will be 2nd and 4 after a 6-yard gain for Charles Roberts. Harry Jones back in a hurry. Time to throw. Has Erlen Bruce, and he'll get the first down for Winnipeg, moving out across the 35. He'll remember his first meeting against the Calgary Stampeders.
Wow.
This season, August 23rd.
It looked like it was all over but the crying, and as a matter of fact, we put up the standings with the Calgary Stampeder win in that game with about 2 minutes left because Winnipeg was down and out on the sideline, and then Erlen Bruce said, you know, I'm not finished playing, and got about 4 touchdowns in a row,
including the game winner. Fortunately, I was not in the booth for that embarrassment that evening.
I'll take full responsibility, but since then, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, boy, it just rejuvenated their season, and they went on, and, you know, they've won 4 of their last 6 after that big come-from-behind victory versus the Calgary Stampeders, and we mentioned it. It's a game that, you know, you can look back on after a season and say, you know, that was the game. That was the catalyst that brought us together, and that was the man who made it happen, Erlen Bruce.
10 touchdowns on the season, 4 in one game. This is 2nd and 10. To Harry Jones. Over the middle, and that'll be another Winnipeg first down. Milt Stegall, number 85, has the touchdown tonight.
You know, Milt Stegall tries to use motion. You know, look at Stegall right here. That's and you waggle up to the line of scrimmage, try and set up the DB with a little outside move. DB Kelly Malvo, who is just sitting in his own defense on the outside, and Stegall recognizes that once he gets jammed by Malvo and then just finds the hole. But that little waggle at the beginning is one of the ways that you help to set up a defensive back and see how he's going to play you.
See, I would like to be in Malvo's shoes for the rest of this evening going against Stegall tonight. Charles Roberts makes the catch, breaks the tackle. He's out to the 55.
Well, you're right, because you don't want to be the trivia question or the trivia question's answer, which is who did Milt Stegall beat to have his record-breaking touchdown catch in the 2002 season? And Kelly Malvo right now is number 20. The next one ties Alan Pitts. And that is the 6th touchdown in the last game and a quarter and a half for Milt Stegall. 2 games and a quarter.
2 games and a quarter, yes. 5 touchdowns in 2 games against Saskatchewan. Charles Roberts escaping again, and he is very close to a first down on 2nd and 4.
And he's got a big lead in the touchdown race overall in the CFL, and the record in the CFL for touchdowns in the regular season is held by Corey Philpott. That was set back in 1995 with 22 touchdowns. So Stegall very likely will also beat that record. And, you know, when you talk to his head coach, he thinks he is the most valuable player in the league, period.
And you can't make a case for that when you watch the way this guy runs a pattern and catches the ball. To Harry Jones. As Erlen Bruce the third, 1 tackle broken, and he's inside the 40-yard line. Alondra Johnson making the Harry Jones has played very well the last couple of weeks as well. What a hot start he had. And coming into this game, 40 touchdown passes.
Well, what he did, John, too, is he started to eliminate the turnovers. And that was the thing that got Kahari Jones in a little bit of trouble in that middle of the season area where they started to lose a few games. He was just turning the ball over too much. He started to eliminate that, and he's played better.
Another Blue Bomber first down. Jones stands in, gets it away. Solid defensive play and almost picked out. That was Deshaun Austin going high to knock that one away from Arlen Bruce.
Deshaun Austin played it perfectly. He was in the outside zone, the deep third zone. You see how those linebackers drop out of there? That tells you it's zone defense. Everyone taking a spot on the field. And Deshaun Austin, he comes from the left of your screen, times it up, and is up at the top of his jump. That one away. He knew he had time to get to that football. It was just a matter of timing up the jump.
Just that close. This drive began back at the Bomber 22. On 2nd and 10. Jones to the near side, right back to Bruce. One hand on it, couldn't bring it in.
Well, see, Kahari Jones wanted to try to throw that on time to Arlen Bruce, who was double covered. The reason he's double covered, 2 guys on him, is because the Calgary Stampeders are going with a 3-man rush. So if you do the math, that means they have 9 behind. There's just 1, 2, 3 on the rush right there. Jones has time to hold on to the football, and you can see the coverage that Arlen Bruce has drawn. Deshaun Austin over there along with Anthony Marlborough. So both of them basically in coverage. And when you say you had 2 guys on him, and Arlen Bruce even had a step.
Troy Westwood looks for 3 more for the total, and Westwood has his 38th field goal of the year. The Bombers have a 7-point lead. Well, desperate times for the Calgary Stampeders, so they went to the black jerseys. They've had terrific success in the regular season. Unbeaten in the black jersey, and we're reading the shoulder patch here.
Yeah, right there is Latin for whatever it takes. And they just wanted a little reminder to each other that it's that time of the year.
And almost overtime for the Stampeders, who must win tonight and then hope for some help from other teams, in particular the BC Lions in a game against Saskatchewan tomorrow. 22 on the return. Wally has had a wonderful run as the head coach here. 12 years on the sidelines, and the Stampeders have never missed the playoffs.
Just look at the record. 136 of 58. He's lost just 22 games and won 92 here at McMahon Stadium. 3 Grey Cup wins. In fact, 3 of the 5 Grey Cups, Wally was the head coach. And you know, he didn't become a bad head coach this year. He just didn't have the same horses that he's had in the past to start the season.
And first down at Sankey. Rolling to his left, won't get away. Wrapped up by David Benefield.
David Benefield in the rotation comes in, and that's, it keeps him fresh. He's the stand-up guy, and his job is to go up and contain the quarterback. Steps down, make sure it's not a running play. Then you see how he widens himself first to make sure he gets wide enough first so that he has the speed and the ability to cut Ben Sankey off. And Sankey tried to throw it one time and didn't have an open receiver.
6th sack of the year for David Benefield. 2nd sack of the evening for the Bombers. Sankey stands in. And he's got Don Blair. Tom Europe made the stop.
Well, see, Benefield now is in the rotation in the lineup, and Oki Brechterfield starts there. They have Wayne Weathers. So basically, they have the 5 defensive linemen now to rotate through. Wayne Weathers, Benefield, Fortney, Brown, and Brechterfield. I don't think this in that group. So, and Fortney is having a breakout year with his 7th sack this season, this game on the season. Of course, Big Doug Brown always drawing the double team. So,
and Wayne Weathers has really come into his own as a starter this season.
Without a doubt.
He started before, but he's really won a full-time job.
And then you put the active linebackers behind him, and that's why this team can do damage in the playoffs, no matter who they play or where they play.
2 and out again for the Stampeders. O'Mani will kick it away to Howell. O'Mani across the 20. There was a big charge on. He got it away. At the 30 and out to the 40. Chris Hoople leading the tacklers. O'Mani gets a pretty good boot away. 48 yards.
Welcome back to the TSN Newsroom, everybody. I'm Blake Price. Light night in the NHL, just 3 games there. In Tampa, the Lightning 2-0 to start the season. Yeah, I swear, 2-0 to start the season for the first time in team history, and they were hosting the Thrashers tonight. 3-2 Atlanta, the second. Watch Vinny LeCamp dive full out for the open puck, chips it past Kazi Nurmanen, who's got a 3-3 game, and the Lightning just keep on going. Power play, it's Vinny Prospel. Puts it in on the second attempt, and yes, the Lightning remain undefeated, an 8-5 win over Atlanta. Elsewhere, Devils and Preds 2-2 in overtime. Patrick Elias breaks in, and his backhander hits a stick and gets past Mike Dunham. Devils win it 3-2 in overtime. The low Canadian team in action, the Vancouver Canucks, they host the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, and that is yet to get underway. Preseason basketball, the Raptors hosting the defending Eastern champion New Jersey Nets, and it didn't go so well. 93-77 the final for the Nets. More football after this.
From deep in the heart of Texas, the NHL on TSN this Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Capitals and the Stars.
Gordon Miller, my buddy Pierre McGuire, have all the action for you. Washington and Dallas, hockey season
Is Pierre
here.
having any fun?
Oh, he's loving it, and I'm loving listening to him.
There the Blue Bombers first down again with a 10-3 lead in the Calgary Stampeders. Bombers can wrap up a playoff spot with a victory tonight. Stampeders desperate to win and keep their playoff alive. There's Charles Roberts out to the 45, and Joe Cooper, who's the new Stampeder linebacker, wearing number 95, in on another tackle.
Well, yeah, here's the job for Cooper in his first game. Joe Cooper, you're in the meeting with Joe Cooper and you're Mike Roach, and you're saying, okay, here's the deal, Mr. Cooper. This is your first game in pro football. That's Roach right at the back there. You say, okay, here's your first game in pro football. Now, they've got this little guy over there with number 1 on his jersey. He can really run to the outside. He's got great quickness.
He's 5'6", 171 pounds. Don't let that fool you.
Yeah, don't let that fool you. Then there's the other guy. Now, see, so what you got to do is wear your sprinting shoes to catch number 1, and because he's going to be all over the place, a little jitterbug. And then, you know, but don't put away those big heavy shoes, because you might have to run out there and try and get your hands on this guy, number 85. Oh no, there's another guy that they can hand the ball to, and that's he's on the opposite side of 85.
Yeah, number 33.
Yeah, and then if you want to go one more step, then there's this 33 guy in the backfield, and you better bow your neck when he's coming through.
Yeah, 33 is 6'3", 260 pounds, and when he gets the ball, he's tough to bring down.
So Mr. Cooper, this is the job that you have, and the guy beside you knows what we're talking about. That's Alondra Johnson. And so if you have any problems in that whole process, you just maybe look to him for a little bit of help. And that's Ohio State right now. He's getting his initiation in a very tough football game.
Yeah, and the Stampeders were unable to stop the Bombers on 2nd and 2. The first down Winnipeg just shy of the 50. Kahari Jones onto the cover, and he gets it to the big guy. He's the 6'3" 260-pounder coming out of the backfield at you.
Yeah, and you see Joe Cooper get over there. Like he's flying over there.
Well, he let Tyrone Rogers make the tackle.
Well, Rogers got underneath on the tackle, but 90 is coming, and he's trying to get over there as quickly as he can, because he's been chasing number 1 around. So now he's just speed over there, and then when he goes to get, here he comes, number 95, and whoa, that's a load right there. He just ran over a couple of my buddies. So that's not an easy task.
2nd and 5, Blue Bombers with the lead. Controlling the first half, Kahari Jones, and almost intercepted. William Fields got in the way of that one.
You know,
Marcus Howell was the target.
That's well played by William Fields. What he decides to do, Kahari Jones has Milt Stiegel short, and then he's got Marcus Howell deep. And what William Fields decided to do was drop off of his man and try and go intercept the pass. As you see, our newcomer, Joe Cooper, trying to get organized. And basically, Alondra Johnson pushed him to his spot. I don't think he was sure where to line up in that particular play. William Fields played that one perfectly, just dropped the ball.
A flag is down as Cameron kicks this away from McGarity. Wayne McGarity, not much on the return, forced out on the far side after 5 yards, following a 49-yard punt. We'll check out the infraction when we return to McMahon for Wendy's Friday Night Football. Stampeder head coach Wally with a few more gray hairs as a result of this season.
You know, this has been an example of what's happened this year to the Calgary Stampeders. This is a pretty good play from William Fields. Pretty good. He drops back. He's got the ball. He times his jump. But the difference between pretty good and great is the difference between losing and winning. Pretty good is okay. Great is what they needed, the interception. If he catches that ball, William Fields, they're on the 40-yard line if he's tackled immediately. Now they're on the 4.
Yeah, add to that the fact that the penalty was against Calgary, holding against Aldi Henry on the return. So the Stampeders begin at the 4-yard line. And they've been 2 and out most of the way here tonight. And Sankey from the end zone steps up. First time he's taken off tonight. Might be a pretty good idea. Sankey is out across the 15, and he'll get a first down. Harold Nash up to make the tackle.
Yeah, and that's where, if he's going to start to run the ball, that's probably the better place to run, and is up in the middle. When the lanes open up in here, the pressure on the defense quicker than it does if the quarterback tries to run to the outside. The reason being, he's heading north and south, and he's picking up yards all the way along the run. So it puts a strain on your defense if you're running up the middle.
14-yard gain for Ben Sankey. First down for the Stampeders. Now out at the Calgary 18, low snap. Sankey digs it out. Can't find a target. Now he's got Blair sliding out the backfield. This will be another Calgary first down. Don Blair is up at about the 41, forced out by Dave Donaldson. Well, you know, back-to-back first downs at the start.
Well, the first one, you credit Sankey for running in the middle. This one, it's the O-line. That offensive line gave Sankey a ton of time. Look at this. Sankey looks to his left. Nothing over there. Looks to his right. He doesn't like it there, so he runs to the outside. That offensive line completely dominating their men, and he can dump it off. Watch on the outside. You see, you get good blocks all the way across the board. In fact, dominant blocks. Bobby Singh, a key on that tackle position.
25-yard gain. First down, low reverse. Lost in the backfield as Kelvin Anderson gets over to get back to it.
He peeked. Kelvin Anderson started to look at who he was going to try and make a move on.
And Doug Brown was there waiting. Anderson was lucky to get it back.
Well, here's how it's going to work. You come this way, the first one. There's the pitch, and then it's a toss. You know, sometimes on that reverse, it can be a straight handoff where Antonio Warren literally puts the football in the stomach of Kelvin Anderson.
Oh, he was looking.
In this case, it's a complete toss, and it got Kelvin Anderson kind of up high in the face mask area.
Loss of 7 makes this 2nd and 17. Stampeders are back at the 35 with about 3 minutes to go in the opening half. Stampeders a touchdown behind the Blue Bombers. Looking back to halftime last week against BC, Calgary was in the football game at that point.
It was a 3-point game then, and it ended up a blowout. Calgary doesn't want that to happen here.
Desperate times for the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon tonight. Wednesday night football, and we're getting set for halftime with the boys back in Studio One.
They will break it down for you. First half of play.
Calgary Stampeders down by a touchdown at 10-7. And the Stamps looking at 2nd and 17 here.
Well, they've got a little something going here, though. And Ben Sankey's starting to get things going a little bit with his legs. He ran on first down, got a nice 14-yard gain. They've got a little bit of a drive started here for Calgary, and they need one.
And then a 25-yard gain for Blair. So here's Sankey facing big yardage against him, and they'll get the first down. Peterson made the catch, and he's down inside the Winnipeg 40. Tom Europe over to make the tackle. With a little help from Rylan Wickman, but Kamal Peterson comes up with the biggest play of the night for Calgary.
You see where Ben Sankey is throwing the football. Out around the numbers. He's using his legs once again to buy himself some time, get out to the outside. Kamal Peterson's starting to figure it out. He works back to the football, catches it, and then turns and gets a few yards on his own after the fact.
Overall, a fairly decent season with 771 yards and 36 to that total. First down, Stampeders. Peterson again. Dropped at the 25 by Harold Nash.
Well, this time the Winnipeg Blue Bombers decide to drop everybody in the zone defense, and Kamau Peterson is just the underplayer. He's basically the checkoff man who's going to come right across the middle right there. And here he comes. Ben Sankey is patient, does the right thing, dumps it in front of Lamar McGriggs to Kamau Peterson as he just works on that under pattern all the way across the middle.
Another 14 yards for the Stampeders. Set up at the 25. Deepest penetration of the evening for Calgary. Sankey looks good. Won't get this one away. Wrapped up there. Stampeders in the red zone, and that means Karen Drake and Blue might get a chance. Are you ready to go?
We're ready, but
Yeah.
don't say anything yet. It might jinx us.
Now, Karen, you said that Blue was a little upset coming in to the game tonight.
Yeah, just because I pulled him out of his pen.
Yeah, well, has he not had the workout this year that he's had in past years? Is that maybe the problem?
Well, that could be, but, you know, we had, like, the last game, I guess, we had 5 runs. So that was good. Made up for the ones that we missed before.
Well, as Blue goes, the Stampeders go. That's how it works. So,
2nd and 18. Sankey stands up. He's down inside the 20 to about the 18. He'll be short of the first down. Ben Sankey. Stopped by Tom Europe, so that saves a touchdown, and that means Blue and Karen will rest for a minute or two.
well, Kelvin Anderson couldn't rest on this play because Sankey's going to run again. Kelvin Anderson, 32 to the right of your screen. Now he's got to scramble and try and find somebody, but he gets the key block right there. Little block in the back. He gets away with a bit of a clip, but the guy was going down anyway. But that was the key block to get Sankey up there close. Now, I don't think they're close enough to gamble in this
No, I wouldn't think
juncture
so.
of the game.
I mean, 3 points here is fairly
you take
important to the Stampeders.
Take
Turn
your
it
point.
into a 4-point game. McLaughlin hit from 46 earlier. McLaughlin is 2, and the Calgary Stampeders creep a little closer to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Stampeders hoping to stave off playoff elimination.
The new Kia Sorrento. How far will you go?
Blue Bombers hoping to lock up a playoff spot tonight. We'll be on the air with Wendy's CFL Live and a doubleheader on Sunday. Hamilton at Montreal, followed by Ottawa and Toronto. Blue Bombers on first down.
Peters come away with a field goal there, but the good news for the Stamps and their fans is they're knocking on old Mo's door, and they're trying to steal a little momentum from this game. And another defensive play right there on Milt Stegall. They've got a drive together from Ben Sankey. That was a drive that started on their own 4-yard line. They've got a little bit of momentum. They came away with 3 points. They get a stand here, and they may even get a crack at the football one more time before this half is out.
Well, they forced the Bombers into 2nd and long here. So it's up to the Calgary defense to try and set up another chance before halftime. Harry Jones missed his target. Arlen Bruce III couldn't catch that. So 51 seconds remain till halftime.
Kahari Jones saw the Calgary Stampeders linebacking course show the blitz and then really not come and kind of stand in no man's land, and may have forced Kahari Jones to hold the football a little bit longer than he wanted to. Couldn't hook up there, so the Stampeders get their stop.
Little momentum for Calgary. Bob Cameron puts it down near the 30. This is McGarity, and he stopped at the 35. Wrapped up by Wade Miller. So we'll see what Ben Sankey can do into the final 42 seconds.
Well, in the first quarter, it didn't look like Ben Sankey really had control of the playbook like he said he didn't during the week. But now he's starting to use his athletic ability to make things happen, and maybe getting a little help from the sideline from Marcus Crandall as well. Every time he comes over, he learns a little thing or two about his offense and about what he has to do to move the football. That last series, his best so far in this game.
Numbers are not spectacular so far in the number of yards, but that last sequence worked out very well for Calgary and netted a 25-yard Mark McLaughlin field goal. Stampeders on first down. Sankey shotgun. Stands in and fires. He's got a strike at the 50. Don Blair was close to the turf, but Blair scoops it up.
You know, I think what you'll see Dave Ritchie do at halftime is go in the locker room and remind his troops that they better not look past the Calgary Stampeders. Even though they looked like they had control of the game in the first quarter. Coming in, they were heavily favored and probably should have been based on what's happened this season. But there's a lot of football to be played.
Stampeders in the hurry-up offense. Sankey stands in, another strike. And this will be another Stampeder first down. Camille Loud out inside the 40-yard line of the Blue Bombers with 21 seconds till halftime.
Well, see, now Ben Sankey started to, now he's old Moe's door. He's on the other side and grabbing all of that momentum from this football game with another impressive drive here to wind things down. He's still got enough time to put some more points on the board.
Sankey stands in again, far side. There's his target, and another first down.
Well, he's got
Anderson.
John, he's got 8 seconds. He's down around the 27-yard line.
Has he got a chance to go for the end zone one time, or does he have to settle for 3?
Well, I think you're almost in the time where you got to settle for 3. The only reason I say that is if he wants to take a shot at the end zone, he's about 30 yards away from that end zone, 27 to be exact, but you got to get into the end zone, right? So now you got 30 seconds or so. That takes 4 seconds for a receiver to get there, if you can get that much time, right? So now you're using too much time. They're going to take one more crack, but if you're the Winnipeg defense right now, you want to make the catch in front of you, hold them up, and see if you can get out of this half without giving up any more points.
8 seconds till halftime. Stampeders look for the touchdown. Sankey can't get it away, and finally does. Flags are down. 2 seconds remain till halftime. So Sankey got rid of it just in time.
Sankey tried to throw that one away with Tom Europe coming on the blitz from the safety position. And it looks to me...
No infraction on the play. The pass hit the line of scrimmage. It's second down.
As long as that ball hits the line of scrimmage or goes beyond it, it's not intentional grounding. The flag came down thinking it was intentional grounding, and the ball bounced behind the line. It did not, so it'll be second down, and now the field goal team does come on the field.
So they took the opportunity to look for the end zone, couldn't get there. Sankey wisely got rid of the ball with 2 seconds on the clock. A 34-yard field goal try for Mark McLaughlin, who's hit from 46 and 25, and the Bombers, not surprisingly, call a timeout.
Well, and then they'll also put Troy Westwood and Bob Cameron back in the end zone. Should Mark McLaughlin miss this field goal and is deep, then Bob Cameron and Westwood, whoever catches it, will kick it back out. And then the fun begins.
And save the points. Bombers lead it 10-6. Stampeders looked ahead to the dressing room at halftime, trailing by a single point. So here's McLaughlin from 34. And he's got it. So Mark McLaughlin is 3 for 3. Stampeders have to feel just a little bit better about themselves heading to the dressing room with back-to-back field goals.
Well, in those last 2 series, Ben injected some of that enthusiasm we talked about earlier.
No touchdowns yet, but that may well come for the Calgary Stampeders, fighting to stave off playoff elimination at McMahon Stadium tonight.
At the Half, brought to you by Wendy's. Take a bite out of hunger with the Wendy's Big Bacon Classic. Wendy's, it's better here.
The Calgary Stampeders within one in their fight to stay alive in the hunt for the playoff spot. Chris Schultz, Matt Dunnigan, Jock Climby along with me. It's a very special day on Sunday, a doubleheader in the CFL right here on TSN. Second game will feature the Ottawa Renegades at Skydome taking on the Toronto Argonauts. A very important game for playoff positioning in the East, but a very important day for charity, Parkinson's disease, as Muhammad Ali will make his appearance at the Skydome, and we will bring you that halftime extravaganza. For more on that, here is Rod Black and Allison Smith. Well, welcome back to Wendy's Friday Night Football. It is 10-9 Winnipeg at the half. We're getting ready for the third play. Chris Schultz, one of the big stories coming in, was the change at quarterback for Calgary. An important game. They need to win to have the possibility of staying in, and they change a quarterback, and how's he doing so far?
You know what? I think he's doing pretty good. I mean, you see Ben Sankey seems to get stronger and stronger as this game is progressing, and he doesn't have the whole playbook down. He's doing just the simple things, executing the simple plays. Remember, last year he started 5 games, had 14 touchdowns, had only 4 interceptions. That means under stress he can make some good decisions. And I think Winnipeg better be careful. Somebody better stand up in that locker room and say, guys, we're fighting for our playoffs. They have BC Lions left, and then they have another game. They play Toronto, and that's it. So this is the second last Western Conference game where they can take advantage of the standings. But Winnipeg, man, they got to wake up.
Yeah, Ben Sankey's putting some pressure on him with his legs and his mobility. He's 10 of 15. Had a slow start in that ball game. We pointed that out to you, but he really picked it up in the second quarter, applying pressure to Winnipeg's defense. Now, Benefield, Williams, Brown, and Fortney are doing a good job of getting upfield, but they're not staying in their lanes. I believe that Dave Ritchie tell them it's important to keep contained, KD, David Benefield, keep your contained, let Brown and Fortney push the pocket, stay in your lanes, and we'll corral this guy, and they'll have much better success.
Well, listen to see how this second half plays out for the rest of the game, and I always enjoy watching football teams who are really at the end of their season. I mean, you have to be a mathematician to figure out just how Calgary can make it in to the playoffs. They really have very little chance, and these players know it. So they're playing for different reasons, different motivations. I tell you, a lot of these guys right now are playing for next year, and they know the coach's eyes are on them. So is the owner's eyes, for that matter, and they're worried about that. Some guys are playing for stats, and that motivates them. Believe me, statistics at this point here become more important when you know the playoffs are out of there. And some guys are just playing out the string, and those are the guys that need to be careful, because if you look like you're just playing out the string, you're in trouble for next year.
Oh, we've seen it time and time again in the CFL. Teams that are supposedly out of it and playing for jobs for next season are very dangerous this time of year. And right now, the Calgary Stampeders are not out of this ball game by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's a one-point game, and Ben Sankey seems to be getting stronger as the game goes on, so they'll have to lay a couple more hits on him like that one in the second half, which is next.
The CFL is in double coverage. Sunday on TSN.
Welcome back to McMahon. We're set for the second half in a narrow Blue Bomber advantage on the Calgary Stampeders, 10-9 on Wendy's Friday Night Football. And here are the numbers with Calgary coming on strong second quarter.
Well, you heard Matt Dunnigan tell you that Ben Sankey started to get it going. He got a slow start. In the first quarter, the Calgary Stampeders had just 1 first down. They now have 7 first downs in the second quarter. So Ben Sankey started to put some first downs together. He got a couple of drives together, came away with 6 points late in that half to get it close. And that has given the Calgary Stampeders and their fans a little bit of hope here.
Halftime stats by Moore's Clothing for Men. Well made, well priced, well dressed. So it's into the 11th hour for Wally and the Calgary Stampeders. They are desperate for a win tonight to keep playoff hopes alive. And then they'll have to hope for help from BC and other teams in the final 2 weeks of the season. Dave Ritchie and the Blue Bombers with a chance to lock up a playoff spot this evening.
Yeah, around week 18, I'll be able to tell you exactly who ends up where, because it is really a tight race in the West Division, and one of those teams is going over to the East, and
yeah, and it could be interesting in the Eastern Division as it looks right now too, with the Argonauts at 6-10, just a point back of the Hamilton Tiger Cats in that life and death struggle there for second spot behind Montreal. Charles Roberts set to return and get the second half underway, reversing his field, looking for a block, and a run for a 9-yard return. Kelly Malvo making the tackle. Head-to-head on the quarterbacks.
Kahari Jones, 10 of 17, just the 90 yards. Hasn't been able to hit the big play yet to Milt Stegall or to Arland Bruce. They do have the touchdown to Stiegel. And Ben Sankey, most of those 10 completions coming in the second quarter, not the first. He's starting to rack up the yards himself. Maybe most importantly, though, for Sankey is he provided that spark.
Really did. In the second quarter, Sankey took off a couple of times and then found the range with his receivers. On first down, Arland Bruce made the catch at the 45.
You know, and if you're the Calgary defense, you got a good start to the game. You got a couple of 3-and-outs and punts. Then that touchdown. Kelly Malvo thought he had an interception. Milt Stiegel had his hands on the as well. So Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, he's right back here, and I point to his back because he's having back problems, and he's been playing hurt for about a month. Paul LaPolice, coaching hurt, I should say.
Coaching hurts. Another Bomber first down, and that will be another one at the 45-yard line as Kahari Jones finds Milt Stiegel. Malvo made the tackle there.
3 receivers to the top of the field, and Milt Stiegel's just going to come across here, and he's just going to layer on Kelly Malvo. He's the inside and closest receiver, but you see that deep one is Arland Bruce, and that's what keeps safety Greg Frères away from the play. So Kelly Malvo is now in a one-on-one with Milt Stiegel.
And that's not fun at any time. Stiegel picked up 20 yards there, first down. Blue Bombers just outside. The 5 at the 46. Here's Charles Roberts. Slowed down and dropped by Alondra Johnson.
And I don't have the exact numbers for Charles Roberts in the first half, but I'll tell you one thing, his average is probably pretty good.
I do. Here you go, 56.
Well, thanks. Ask and you shall receive. 56 yards rushing, and you look at some of those plays from Charles Roberts in the first half, and it doesn't seem like he's held to under 8 or 9 yards on any particular play.
56 yards rushing and 17 receiving yards. So Roberts came up a little shy of the first down there, but here's Kahari Jones going to work again, and he'll get the first down to Milt Stiegel on the other side of the field this time. And Joe Cooper got over to make the tackle on Stiegel.
Kahari Jones got a little bounce in his step now. He throws this football on time. It's a timing play, and again, here's the inside receiver, Stiegel, just a quick out, and it's on time. 3-step drop for Kahari Jones. 1, 2, 3, balls out of there, and there's no way you can cover that pattern. Because if you get up close enough to cover a short out like that, like Kelly Malvo, you get up close enough on that one, he's going to run right by you.
And that's exactly what Stiegel did to Kelly Malvo there. 3 receivers to the near side. Another Blue Bomber first down. Jones standing confidently in and tossing the touchdown. It's Stiegel. That's 2. And that ties Alan Pitts for the most touchdowns in a single season at 21.
If you get up that close to Milt Stiegel, he's going to run right by you.
And they've had a few chances to rehearse the dance.
Well, Milt Stiegel now has had 21 chances to be the lead choreographer in the end zone. And that does tie Alan Pitts for receiving touchdowns in the regular season.
Bombers come out and quickly establish a 17-9 lead on the Stampeders. Simply the best, Milt Stiegel, 5 catches, 92 yards, and a couple of touchdowns here tonight.
Well, nothing fancy from Milt Stiegel in his 21st touchdown, and he runs straight down the field and takes advantage of some inexperience in the zone defense of the Calgary Stampeders.
So the Blue Bombers reestablish an 8-point lead. Chance for Calgary on the return here by Antonio Warren. Look at the speed of Warren. Forced out just outside the 25-yard line. Antonio Warren brings new life to the Calgary Stampeders after the Bomber touchdown.
Timing is everything, John. Antonio Warren, really, this may be, if the Calgary Stampeders can find a way to win this game, the biggest play of it, because after that Stiegel touchdown, which was relatively easy for him, Antonio Warren grabs a little of that momentum back with a nice return. Really untouched. That's good blocking from the special teams all the way along the line.
76 yards before he's done. And Stampeders up. First down at the Winnipeg 26. Sankey, nice play action fake, looks to the end zone and too far.
Well, this touchdown from Milt Stegall. Zone defense does not mean you take the play off. You should be more aggressive. Go ahead and run it, guys, here, and I'll show you. As Stegall goes down the field, you got to stop it right there. Look at this. Joe Cooper, Kelly Malvo. Got to get your hands on the receiver running down the field in zone. Zone does not mean you take a timeout. They took a timeout. Stegall gets big-time momentum for Winnipeg. Now Antonio Warren gets some of it back, but can Calgary capitalize?
Well, they got another crack at it from the 26, 2nd and 10 from there. Here's the charge on Sankey, lucky to get it away. Kamal Peterson was the target.
Lamar McGriggs coming in. What's the Calgary Stampeders? Look at this. This is Don Blair right here. Calgary Stampeders are bringing Don Blair in to try and help him in the protection end. He's one-on-one with Lamar McGriggs, who gets caught a little bit close. That allows Sankey outside, but Kamal Peterson can't hang on to the football.
So McLaughlin is in.
McLaughlin now.
A tough catch for Kamal Peterson, but one of those three that Jacques Chapdelaine talks about that the receivers drop in every game.
So McLaughlin tries to go 4 for 4. They're spotted at the 33. And he's wide this time. McLaughlin misses, and the Stampeders settle for 1. It's the Bombers leading by a touchdown. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football. Bombers are trying to eliminate the Stampeders. Blue Bombers lead by a touchdown at 17-10. 76-yard return. That's just 1 point for Calgary.
Number 20 for Milt Stegall. In the season, number 21 for Milt Stegall in the season. And we're not finished yet, folks.
Single, it's Charles Roberts from the 35. 3 Stampeders meet him at the 39.
21 touchdowns is sometimes 3 seasons for some receivers, let alone 1 season, and almost unheard of. Alan Pitts in '94 set the record. Previous to that, it was way back in 1991. Now he's trying to get after Corey Philpott for overall touchdowns in the regular season. That was set in 1995 as a BC Lion.
And if you want a sure bet,
well, he's
Jake Stegall. 2nd and 5, Bombers at the 40. Kahari Jones having a nice night, looking deep, looking for Stegall. And he drew some double coverage there.
Show you the difference, though. Remember when Milt Stegall ran down the field and was untouched in the zone? Well, Kelly Malvo's playing man defense this time. A little bit different in the call, but watch how physical he is with Stegall. This time he gets up there and challenges him, gets his hands on him. He's molesting him all the way down the field, not letting him just run clean down the field, and that one goes incomplete. That's the difference. Milt Stegall is a great threat and a tremendous receiver, but you got to get up and challenge him. Kelly Malvo didn't. He got beat on a touchdown. That time he did, and it was incomplete.
Go get it. Hit it on the run. Hit that
Cameron's
pitch on
kick
the run. That's
down at the 32. Andre Arlane leading the tacklers there. Calgary Stampeders down by a touchdown and facing playoff elimination at McMahon Stadium tonight. For the first down here, play action fake. And a big hole opens up for Kelvin Anderson. He's out to midfield, stopped at the 55 by Ryland Wickman.
That was the old Statue of Liberty play. Remember that when you're in the playground and you drop back as a quarterback, you just hold the ball up there? It looked like the old Statue of Liberty. Looked like you're going to throw the football, then just kind of turn around, hand it to the back. Defensive line have committed to their pass rush moves, so they don't react well to a running play, and it picks up pretty good yards.
Anderson's largest gain of the evening, 15 yards. So the Stampeders are first and 10 at midfield. Sankey. Another strike. Another completion. Another first down. Camu Peterson.
Ben Sankey, you know, in the last couple of series of the first half and then in this series is starting to get protection of the boys up front. We watch how Ben Sankey sits back in the pocket. He has a throwing lane to get out to the outside.
Major foul, face mask, Winnipeg 44. Major foul, face mask, Calgary 50. Both dead ball fouls. First down.
K.D. Williams got mixed up. Ben Sankey really started to come on. He got a slow start in the first quarter, a couple of 2-and-outs, but then in that second quarter, he made some good decisions with the football. Decided to run up the middle there. Outside, breaks containment, uses his athletic ability, a nice throw.
Kamal Peterson making a couple of key catches on the drive.
Make good decisions, protecting the football, and using his athletic ability.
Here's Kelvin Anderson stacked up behind the line and stopped at the 40. You know, Oki Brechterfield was there.
And, John, it's that spark as well. You know, Ben Sankey on that 14-yard run to get things going and get Calgary in this game, he got hit pretty hard at the end of it, but he didn't hook slide. He didn't try and run out of bounds. He didn't cower. What he did is he took the hit. And that kind of thing really will translate into the rest of your team picking up their game a little bit. It's just called leadership.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Stampeders trailing Winnipeg by a touchdown. Sankey stands in, looks deep. Kamal Peterson was the target, and Sankey overthrew him by about 4 yards.
He had him.
Glenn Davis was back covering, so you had a rookie covering there. You know, the Bombers got away with it.
You look at this one-on-one matchup. Davis in his back pedal turns, but Kamal Peterson shows great speed. Davis took a little long getting out of that back pedal, and Sankey, who's been trying to protect the football, wanted to put it long enough so that only Kamal Peterson could catch it, and put it just a bit too long.
McLaughlin missed his last, but he's hit 3 of 4. Roberts in the end zone. Should McLaughlin be wide again, this will be spotted at the 47. Has he got it? Wide again. Same side, wide right. So McLaughlin has missed 2 in a row, and Charles Roberts motors out to the 40-yard line. He's across and dropped at the 40. So McLaughlin, after hitting 3 for 3, has missed his last 2. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Calgary, and following the game, the TSN Turning Point will be brought to you by Super 8.
What? They gave our room away?
Not what you want to hear. Then Super 8's where you want to stay, where VIP members get guaranteed rooms and 10% off. Clean, friendly Super 8. All the room you want.
Despite an up-and-down season, another crowd of over 30,000 at McMahon Stadium in Calgary tonight, Glenn. That's 24 straight games of over 30,000 fans in the stands here.
Well, it's been 13 tremendous seasons under Wally Buono, and despite the record this year, the success off the field is still there for the Calgary Stampeders. You look at 7 first-place finishes in the 90s.
3 Grey Cup appearances. They haven't missed the playoffs since 1988. In danger of that happening as of tonight. What a catch by Arlen Bruce III. There's a penalty marker down, but Arlen Bruce makes a spectacular catch for the Blue Bombers.
Anthony Marlborough is I don't know if he's hoping or he's calling offensive pass interference.
Offensive pass interference. Winnipeg, number 4.
Good call.
Repeated.
Well, it was a layered pattern. Miltstiegel was the crossing route, and Arland Bruce went straight down the rail or the seam, right down the hash marks on the field. It'd be to the left of your screen over here. And as he goes down the field, he's working one-on-one on Anthony Marlborough. A little push-off. Marlborough goes down, and Arland Bruce goes down with the football, but the ref saw it, so he got up immediately and was indicating to the refs that should be a penalty, and they called it.
As a result, the Bombers look at 1st and 20, back at the 30. Jones stands in. Tight coverage.
The Bombers trying to get that big play. You saw the big one down the seam to Arland Bruce. That didn't work. That one, they went to the opposite side to Miltstiegel. It's been an interesting story for the Bombers as you look through their season. First 6 games, 12 big plays over 40 yards, their record 4-2. When they had their problems, the record went to 1-3, big plays dropped off. Last 5 games, more big plays. 2 per game, and now the record 4-1. This is a team that has lived on the big play. They did last year, and they have this year when they've had success.
May need one here. This is 2nd and 20. Kahari Jones stands. One might be up for grabs. No, it's grabbed by Drover. Jeff Drover, first catch of the night. This is a great story. Drover making his 4th start for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's a graduate from the University of Calgary, and he was a walk-on there where he made CIS All-Canadian in his final year.
Well, we cued the big play for you, and Anthony Marlborough that time in the zone got caught way up too far into the middle of the field, and Jeff Drover was left all by himself to the outside. And really their first big play of the football game.
39 yards.
Just about 40.
Just about 40. Jeff Drover, St. John's, Newfoundland. A walk-on in Calgary. Playing his first game at McMahon. Here's Charles Roberts heading to the end zone. Can he get there? Cuts it in. Stopped at the 4.
Pretty good play by Greg Frères to keep him out of the end zone. I mean, that's a well-blocked play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the point of attack. Charles Roberts accelerates through the hole, and then it's one-on-one with Greg Frères. That's a big hole. Now, I've been there in that safety position. It's you, the running back, and the end zone behind you. And Frères has allowed the Calgary Stampeders with that tackle to line up again in this series.
Now, when you look at that, you're maybe happier that it's Charles Roberts running at you than Mike Sellers.
Well, pick your poison is what you're thinking.
First down, goal to go. Blue Bombers just inside the 5 of the Calgary Stampeders. Great fake. The touchdown toss, and Drover can't come up with it. Or hang on. That's Fortney, number 90. Drover wears 80, and Fortney lined up as an end there.
Yeah, well, he's up with the big team. He's the elephant. See Fortney right here, right at the bottom of your screen. He's in there with the elephants, and he's the guy, look, he comes pulling out there, and then he releases out into the flat, it's called.
A pulling end.
And that's like the elephant pass left. I'm not sure that's what they call it, but that's the elephants out there. Big Denny Fortney rumbling out, couldn't run under that football.
He laid out, trying to bring it home. 2nd and goal. Blue Bombers call a timeout.
Well, see, you know, now this, you go back to Greg Frères, and he did this one other time, and that was in the win versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Maybe, you know, the most impressive win of the season for the Calgary Stampeders. And Frères in that game, when the game was still in the balance, ran down a Hamilton receiver to save. It was Tony Akins, as a matter of fact, to save a touchdown.
Got him at the 1-yard line.
That's right. Calgary Stampeders ended up with a goal line stand there, and then really blew out Hamilton from then on. And now this I can't emphasize enough how difficult what Greg Frères did. That is Charles Roberts, who, you know, can make you miss in a phone booth. And he got him out of bounds, and now he's got his defense another chance.
2nd and goal to go. Blue Bombers are set up at the Stampeder 4. Jones will put it up. Can't get it away. In fact, there was a Stampeder with a chance to get a hand on it, and Kahari Jones is down. James Cotton was covering in the end zone, and Anthony Marlborough was there too. So the play by Frères, and the Bombers can't get into the end zone.
Yeah.
They'll settle for a try for 3.
You know, Kahari Jones gets hit late on this one. He has lots of time initially. Here comes big James Cotton, and he puts him to the turf. Greg Frères basically saved points.
Well, and Westwood has a sharp angle shot here. From 11 yards, Cameron has it down, and Westwood puts it through. So it could have been worse for the Calgary Stampeders, still scrapping for a chance to be around in the playoffs. Afternoon, beginning with Hamilton at Montreal, followed by Ottawa at Toronto. And that will be a very special afternoon at Sky Dome.
It certainly will be, and for a good cause as well.
Muhammad Ali in person for the greatest good, and to donate to a very worthwhile cause. There is the number, 1-866-565-4Ali.
Parkinson's disease is the cause, and it's quite a guest list.
Including the heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes, George Chiavello, Elvis Stoico, Warren Moon, all in attendance in Toronto on Sunday afternoon. Antonio Warren had a big return earlier. This one isn't bad either. Out across the 40 to about the 41. So if you'd like to join us at Sky Dome Sunday afternoon, you're going to come along, right?
Yeah, and if you want to join us, that's the number to call for tickets, and $10 of that ticket is going to go towards Parkinson's disease research and the effort to find a cure for a disease that affects many, many Canadians. And it's going to be quite an afternoon and evening in the Sky Dome in Toronto.
Calgary Stampeders are down by 10, 3:24 to go. In the third quarter, there is still time to keep the playoff hope alive for Calgary football fans. A miscue there. Kelvin Anderson.
Big trouble.
Tracked down, and Anderson looks to throw. Well, finds a way to get to the other side, and Anderson turns this into an amazing play to gain even an inch after that. And Oki Brechterfield has had a pretty darn good game for the Blue Bombers here.
No, that with Kelvin Anderson is the heart and soul of a team that is doing everything they can. That was set up as a reverse to Travis Moore. And Kelvin Anderson lost the handle, looked to throw it, and then said, I'm not going to quit on the play. I've got to try and make something happen.
And Brechterfield got over to force him out after a gain of about 1 yard. It looked like he scampered down the sidelines for a little more than that, but only 1 yard. Still an exciting play, and Anderson just about made something happen for the Stampeders.
It was set up as the reverse, didn't work, and Anderson just wouldn't quit on it.
That's the second time the reverse hasn't worked for Calgary, and Anderson has been involved in the bobble both times. 2nd and 9. A little high. Sankey on the far side, looking for Kamal Peterson.
There's the second drop. And Kamal Peterson has had some catches in this game, and he had some catches to set up field goals. But that's the second drop for Kamal Peterson, and we mentioned it right off the top. Jacques Chapdelaine saying that the quarterbacks have had about 3 drops per game, and those are 3 drops that count as first downs, and you can see the frustration in Ben Sankey when that happens. He had a first down, he threw the ball right where he had to be, he read the defense properly, the receiver put it on the ground, and you draw it up in practice, you work on it, but you can't coach that. That's just a player trying to finish.
6th, 2 and out by the Stampeders so far tonight. This is Coleman, stopped in his tracks at the 32. Wally Bueno has been in the playoffs every season that he's been in front of the Calgary Stampeder bench. That's 12 years in a row. And it's looking a little bleak right now.
Well, they've been dominant here at McMahon Stadium over the run for Wally Buono, but declining over the last couple of seasons. You know, 3-4 at home this year, 4-4 last year, and before that, boy, just dominant in front of their crowd. One of the reasons that they've had over 30,000 for so many consecutive games, and the wheels have started to fall off over the last couple of years with regards to their home dominance.
From the 30, first down Winnipeg. Bombers lead it by 10. Charles Roberts running well and running that time into Jason Bray.
You know, and this is the difficult situation for Calgary. You know, whether you're offense, defense, or special teams, now you start looking at the clock a little bit. Now you're thinking, okay, the third quarter's starting to run down. You know, and that's Wally Buono right now looking at the clock, looking and saying, now the time is part of the problem, because behind in this game by 10, coaching staff up in the booth glance at the clock as well. You know, this is now your season on the line. Lose this one, and you're out.
Bombers are looking at 2nd and 8. Kahari Jones, pump fake once, looking for a big play, bounced into the hands of Fields. William Fields with the interception for the Stampeders, still going. Lost the ball. Stampeders get it back. It's a beautiful thing, this CFL game, isn't it?
James Cotton is in the perfect place at the right time for William Fields. Ball stripped out of there after a great return. And we had a little bit of everything on that play, including a penalty flag as they sort that out.
Major foul. Piling. Winnipeg 68. First down.
Well, give Kelly Malvo one for the Malvo column, because he got his hand on that football. Stiegel was in behind him. There's the strip. Bounces 2 hops to James Cotton.
Watch this.
Drover gets it out of there.
He hammered it up.
Cotton on the 2-hop.
Played it like a goalie, didn't he?
And then piling on after the fact. Dave Mudge gets that penalty.
Good break, though, Money.
So the Bombers lead it by 10. 59 seconds remain in the third quarter. The Stampeders really have to get to the end zone on this sequence from the 13-yard line. Time running out. Third quarter. Antonio Warren stopping at the 10. Stampeders have kicked field goals all evening long. And we're anxious to see Blue make a trip around McMahon Stadium. Karen, are you ready?
Yeah, we are.
Feeling confident, Karen?
I think so. I think we're going to take this one. We'll go in.
Now, Karen, if you get Blue just out onto the grass, maybe that'll be part of the thing. If we move him just a little bit.
Oh, no.
You don't want to jinx him, do you?
No, we don't want to jinx him, Glenn. Come on.
Well, they're on the doorstep right now.
Second down as we wait for Blue and Karen Drake. Stampeders looking to get to the end zone. Sankey himself, can he get there? Not this time. Marvin Coleman comes up to make the tackle on the Stampeder quarterback.
But, you know, this looked like a design quarterback sweep from Ben Sankey. It started out looking a little bit like an option, but the option man who on the play just was Scott Regenbald, who just ran up to look for a block, which makes you indicate that it was probably just a quarterback sweep to Ben Sankey.
Third down and 3 to go. What to do here for the Calgary Stampeders with 2 seconds to go, third quarter, trailing Winnipeg by 10.
Over 30,000 fans here didn't like that call, if it was the quarterback sweep for Sankey.
And there's a horse in the end zone anxious to run that doesn't like the call either.
You're right about that. Gonna have to wait another series.
Mark McLaughlin missed his previous 2 and gets that one. So it's a 7-point game once more after a 14-yard Mark McLaughlin field goal. Stiegel has the touchdowns for the Bombers. Charles Roberts running with abandon, and the Stampeders are just trying to stay alive.
And they're doing just that, down by only a touchdown as we await the fourth quarter in Calgary. Milt Stiegel didn't want to talk about the fact that he's chasing a single-season touchdown record, 21 now, but so we'll talk about him. He's just simply one of the best.
Yeah, he's tied with Alan Pitts now with the 21. It'd be fitting if he if he surpassed Alan Pitt's record right there in McMahon Stadium. But simply the Turtle, Milt Stegall, can get it done with its man coverage. You see man here, and watch what Stegall does. He just simply will abuse a DB on a little dig route or in, and he'll beat you every time. And now you go man-to-man coverage, and Steagall's going to take it the other way in a quick little out. He'll stop, make you miss, move the chains, and then Stegall showing you his repertoire, sees zone. Kahari sees it as well, stops, pops, drops in at his 21st touchdown pass. Schulte, Milt Stegall showing you that he's a superstar with a repertoire.
Yes, he is, and I want to talk about another superstar, and that's Alondra Johnson. This young man has played over 200 CFL games. He's in his 14th season, started in 1989, 17 playoff games, 6 times he's been to a Grey Cup game. He has over 1,000 tackles. And how does Calgary use him? In a totally different way. You would think your middle linebacker, your 14-year veteran, would not be right there on kickoff return. That is remarkable to see a player there. He is the guy that makes the block, that hits the seam. That's why Antonio Warren made that play. And I'll tell you, he's got a decision, because if Calgary does not make these playoffs, he is considering retiring. But I'm going to tell you what, I'll make a prediction. I bet you he doesn't. Because players want to retire after a playoff game or as close as you can to a Grey Cup, not in a situation like this. I bet you he'll be back, Jock.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. Now, I want to go back and have a look at the nifty little play that Winnipeg ran down there in the 5-yard line. This is something you don't see very often, and that's having a defensive end as your primary receiver. And when we have a look at this play here, we're going to look at Fortney right here. There he is right there. Okay, now we're going to see a different angle of it coming right up here, and we're going to see Fortney pulling and coming across. Now, Steagall's making the block for him right here, and believe me, Kahari Jones wanted to give him that ball when he threw that pump fake. He was worried about an interception going 110 yards the other way.
Back to Calgary for the 4th quarter.
And here we go. It's a first down Winnipeg. Play action fake. Kahari Jones. And Drover comes up with a reception. A couple for Jeff Drover already. Deshaun Austin over to make the stop.
Well, now you see a couple more first downs from the Calgary Stampeders. 300 net yards for Winnipeg. They've got the edge in the time of possession. But the Calgary Stampeders right now, after 3 quarters, are moving the football between the 40-yard lines, maybe the 30-yard lines. They can't finish when they get the big play. And Milt Stegall, be nice to see him get that one more touchdown.
Bombers are at the 47 with another first down, and Charles Roberts has it again. Nothing doing this time, as Roberts ran into the left side of that Calgary defensive front. Melvin Bradley and James Cotton along with Alondra Johnson over there.
Well, he's over 100 yards rushing on the game. Charles Roberts.
Hobbled a little bit by injury over the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's been a quiet 100 yards, too, in this game. I mean, he's got a nice average. I know that.
Second down and 8 at the Winnipeg 50.
In fact, it's a 9-yard average.
Second and long. Kahari Jones got it away. Sellers makes the catch and turns it into a first down. Mike Sellers gets across the 50, and Alondra Johnson is there to make the tackle.
That's a little chalk talk can show you when everybody drops off and you see players dropping off here in the defense. That's when the fullback out of the backfield is the checkoff man. He's just coming out into this area. You can see the open area. Good read by quarterback Kahari Jones to just drop it off. You can't make the 40-yard play on every down. Sometimes you got to put it in the hands of your running back.
Sellers almost a first down. Here's Charles Roberts. He broke a tackle. Is there to get Roberts again.
And sometimes your running back, John, can make something happen with it, especially when it's Charles Roberts. Again, Calgary Stampeders having to drop off and try and give up. Watch the linebackers all drop into zone defense. And right on the hash mark here is Charles Roberts, who he becomes the underman. Here's the little check-off play. Kahari Jones patient with the football. Drop it off underneath, and now with a nice nifty little spin move, Charles Roberts picks up some good yards.
Yeah, 25 yards in fact, and look where the Bombers are now. At the Stampeder 25-yard line. Winnipeg leading by a touchdown and threatening to put the Stampeders on ice at McMahon tonight. Roberts got away from that vicious tackle and still standing as he crossed the 15-yard line. Greg
Wow.
Frères made the stop again on Charles Roberts, and how did he get away from the first tackle?
Yeah, that was James Cotton. James Cotton comes up over the top of the helmet, has them all wrapped up. Charles Roberts puts on the brakes, spins again, adjusts the helmet on the fly, and then Greg Frères comes up and puts a pretty good hit on him.
121 yards for Roberts on the Knights.
You saw those under patterns, though. That's going to force Calgary to get out of that zone defense they're playing and play some more man, and then it becomes Milt Stegall time. I think the Stamps had to use a timeout. They had a personnel problem. Kelly Malvo was running to the sideline, frantically trying to get off the field.
Stampeders score. 2 cups, the Calgary Urban Project.
Steve Anderson, the extra defensive lineman, went in the game.
Stampeders forced to call the timeouts. Lots of time left in the fourth quarter to make up a 7-point deficit and keep playoff hopes alive at least until tomorrow.
And Kelly Malvo was a wise timeout called by the Calgary Stampeders because Malvo is lined up right here on Milt Stegall.
So 1st and 10, Blue Bombers, Stampeder 14. Harry Jones to the end zone, looking for Arlen Bruce III.
Milt Stegall, I thought for sure it was going to be Milt Stegall's third of the game. Milt Stegall on Kelly Malvo. I told you they were going to force into a one-on-one situation. Here it is. Little post move. Look at that. Wide open in the end zone, and Harry Jones went the opposite direction. And here he is right down here, a little post move. And when he gets in that end zone, if that ball's delivered right now, he's got his third. I thought for sure Kahari Jones would go there. He went the opposite direction.
Stegall with 2 touchdowns on the night to tie Alan Pitts for all-time receiving touchdowns in a single season. Kahari Jones still has it. He's got Stegall, and there you go. 3 touchdowns on the night and a new CFL record for receiving touchdowns in a single season.
Well, congratulations, Milt Stegall. What a year you have put together. I know Dave Ritchie has said that Milt Stegall is the most valuable player in the entire league in any position.
It's tough to argue on a night like this.
I would not argue. You look at the last 3 games from Milt Stegall. 4 touchdowns 2 weeks ago versus Saskatchewan.
Slipped to just 1 last week.
1 last week, 3 tonight, and a CFL record.
Single point is hammered through by Troy Westwood. 3 touchdown tosses from Kahari Jones to this guy, number 85, Milt Stegall. Milt Stegall says he doesn't worry about things like this, records and everything, but he knows he has 22 touchdown receptions, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. And that ties Corey Philpott for touchdowns in a single season, and it passes Alan Pitts for receiving touchdowns in a single season.
Stampeders are in a deep hole now with less than minutes to go. Here's Antonio Warren, who has run extremely well on kick returns. He is away again, but a penalty flag was down back near the 30.
And it may come back, but, you know, go back to that Milt Stegall. Here's a couple of things. And if you're the Calgary Stampeders, I mean, really, what do you do? This time, Stampeders tried to get some help over to Stegall. Now he was covered initially, keeps working and finds a hole. This is what they did. Here is Greg Frères over there to help on Stegall's side. Stegall is right here. So they've got some extra safety help over top of Stegall. Jason Bray covers him initially. Stegall keeps working, and then when Greg Frères tries to break on the ball, he's just a second late from knocking it down.
Split second late. And you can't do that with Milt Stegall, the best receiver in the Canadian Football League. The stats, and you'll see that is very apparent right now. Stampeders get another drop. And that doesn't happen very often. Travis Moore couldn't hang on.
Well, touchdown catches in a season. Alan Pitts had the record 94. We talked about it. So Stiegel's ahead of him now. He has the new record and will be in the book.
And he can chase another Alan Pitts record in a single season as well.
Well, he certainly can. I mean, so far this year, Stiegel has averaged 108 yards per game. He's coming into this game was 409 yards away from Alan Pitts' 94 record of yardage in a season, 2,036.
Sankey to the far side. Catch is made, and this will be a Stampeder first down. Lots to spare for Peterson. Kamal Peterson has 41 yards, and the Stampeders aren't quite done yet out around midfield. On a 41-yard reception, Harold Nash over to make the tackle.
Yeah, and this is why Kamal Peterson, one of the future stars for the Calgary Stampeders, and they're so high on him, and you know, his development has come a long way because he's not given up, and the extra moves there indicates that. He just won't lie down, he won't quit, and it would be easy for this entire team right now to quit after that last Stiegel touchdown.
That's his longest reception of the evening. He's over 100 by 4 yards. 9:17 to go. Stampeders facing elimination from the playoffs after winning the Grey Cup last year. They need 2 touchdowns to tie the Bombers. That one slightly behind the intended target. Wayne McGarity. But Sankey might have had a reception there from his rookie receiver.
Well, 9:05 left. Now Ben Sankey, who's frustrated that one right on the spot because Wayne McGarity really was open. It's a tough throw. He's rolling to his right, trying to avoid pressure and throw on the run. And it was just a little bit behind McGarity. But the Calgary Stampeders now in a situation where they pretty much have to play 3-down football, down 27-13.
Stamps are at midfield, looking at 2nd and 10. Down by 14. Sankey ran earlier, had some success. What a catch there. It'll be another Stampeder first down. You know, it's McGarity coming up with this one.
Now the clock really becomes the enemy. And they're trying to get these plays called on the line of scrimmage. But it's difficult, especially in this Calgary offense, when the calls are signaled from the sideline by Jacques Chapdelaine, and the personnel changes from call to call. So while they're trying to get in and out of the huddle as quickly as possible, they also have to switch personnel occasionally.
Wayne McGarity has a 17-yard reception, and this drive for the Stampeders is still alive. Calgary at the Winnipeg 37. McGarity again, a slant in, heading for the end zone. He'll get there. At last, the Stampeders hit the end zone. Are you ready to go, Karen?
Yeah, he just doesn't want to go. I'm going to hit up some players.
Let's go, Blue.
Blue needed the first couple of steps to warm up, but he's going now.
Took till the 4th quarter for Karen Drake to ride the horse called Blue in a Stampeder touchdown celebration.
Wayne McGarity gets it done and gives Blue a chance to get warmed up again and gets the Stampeders within a touchdown.
2 more trips, Karen, and the Stampeders' playoff hopes could still be alive. Grey Cup champions will not go down quietly on home turf at McMahon Stadium tonight.
Hey, this has been a tough for the Calgary Stampeders, but you know they're playing a little more like champions right now, and that's to never give up and never lie down. And Wayne McGarity got him back in this football game.
2nd career touchdown for McGarity. Bombers on the return.
Well, it's a nice play, Wayne McGarity, on that touchdown because you get a good matchup. Tom Europe is the free safety here. He weighs 195 pounds. Tom Europe has got to come over and hit Wayne McGarity on this hitch pass. He gets matched up now and hold it right there, guys. Look at this. That's Bobby Singh. That is Jamie Crysdale coming down. That is 285 and 350, folks. And I don't like Tom Europe's chances in that matchup. That's close to 600 pounds coming at him, and he kind of got folded under there, and McGarity got in the end zone.
Still time for the Stampeders to bounce back. They a big plays from the defense. They have to stop this guy, and that's not easy. Charles Roberts, well over 100 yards rushing tonight. Stopped by Joe Cooper.
You know, and just to wrap up that Milt Stiegel, he ties Corey Philpott for touchdowns in the regular season with 22. One more, which he will get this year if he can stay healthy. He'll have that record as well. The yardage record coming into this game, he needed 136.3 yards per game in the remaining 3 games, and right now he has 106. So he needs 30 more yards tonight to get that.
To hit the average.
To hit the average.
Yeah.
And then he has Alan Pitt's yardage record in a single season set in 94 at 2,036.
Here are the Bombers on first down, and Charles Roberts is met by a couple of Stampeders there, led by Melvin Bradley. So the defense has to come up Calgary at this point now.
Wow, yeah, it's on the defense, basically. Mike Roach at the far end of that table. He's now got to reach deep down into that playbook, rely on the leadership of his middle linebacker, Alondra Johnson, who's playing like a warrior tonight, like he does every single night, and get a stop.
Second down. And 9 to go, Winnipeg. Gary Jones stands in. He's got Arlen Bruce. Too many weapons for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as Bruce gets inside the 5. He'll score the touchdown. 52 yards for Arlen Bruce III.
And give the assist to Mike Sellers. I'll explain in a moment.
Just when the Stampeders clawed their way back within 7 points, the Bombers escape with a 52-yard touchdown. And the dance worked almost perfectly.
Let me explain the assist. 33 right here is going to step and take the safety blitz. Mike Roach went with the gamble, the blitz. There's Greg Frères, the safety number 12, picked up by Mike Sellers. That gave Kahari Jones time to throw the football. Arlen Bruce does the rest.
Yeah, but he also broke a couple of tackles on his way to the end zone, including getting by William Fields, 29. And around 26, Anthony Marlborough. Bombers have another 2-touchdown lead on Arlen Bruce, his 52-yard score. Arlen Bruce III has a 52-yard touchdown for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, you can't really blame Mike Roach for trying to go with the safety blitz from Greg Frères, trying to create something defensively, possibly a turnover, a big hit on the quarterback. But Mike Sellers saw it coming, picked it up perfectly.
McGarity returning for the Stampeders. He's out to about the 22. Calgary down by 2 touchdowns. And here's the guy that Glenn was telling you got the assist on the touchdown.
See Greg Frères in there. He sneaks in there. Now Mike Sellers is standing here. If he doesn't notice Frères and goes that way, then Kahari Jones gets hit right in the back of the head. Because here comes Frères. He's free. Sellers slides over, drives him into the middle. Jones has time to throw the play. Never happens if Sellers doesn't make that block. And then here is Arlen Bruce. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you.
By a couple of Stampeders to get all the way to the end zone and finish off the 52-yard touchdown so they could do this. Jeff Drover still working his way into the starting routine with that choreography. Short little pass from Sankey. And Antonio Warren stopped by Ryland Wickman. So
13 seasons the Calgary Stampeders have not only been in the playoffs but hosted a playoff game. That won't happen for sure this year.
The hosting part.
The hosting part, and
that's a definite.
Wally Buono looks up at the clock now, sees just 4 minutes and 53 seconds left. His team in a big, big hole. And it's an uphill battle. And even a win here for Calgary makes it a huge uphill battle because they still have to have a lot of things happen for them. But it kept their hopes alive. But every time Jacques Chapdelaine has come up with something, and this offensive team has played pretty well under Ben Sankey since the first quarter. But every time they came up with a play, they got down there, they scored, they got a field goal or touchdown. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers answered.
Well, and look at the weapons the Bombers have coming out of the backfield. Sankey. And no one was home. Stampeders owner Michael Federick stirred things up a little bit this week with his criticism of the Calgary offense last week, and I don't think you could question him for that because the Stampeders had a real tough time offensively against the BC Lions.
We'll say this, so Wally Buono was asked the question by the media about his offensive coordinator Jacques Chapdelaine and some of the comments that Michael Federick had said, and Wally Buono defended Jacques Chapdelaine vigorously.
Under the cover, Antonio Warren gets by one. He'll get a first down. Well, let's see where they spot it, but he's awfully close. Brian Clark made the tackle.
Now we haven't given the win here to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but this is heading into this game, and this is really what you'd see in the playoff picture if the playoffs started heading into this week. The crossover, Saskatchewan would be in these, playing Hamilton. Now, Toronto still has a very good chance to finish second.
Well, look at who Toronto plays into the final 2 weeks of the season. Ottawa on Sunday, and then they get the Calgary Stampeders on the final game of the regular season, where the Tiger Cats have to get by Montreal and Winnipeg to finish ahead of Toronto, or to keep that lead that they do have on the Argonauts, the Tiger Cats right now. So, I mean, Toronto's schedule a little easier when you look at the Ottawa Rough Riders record and you look at what the Calgary Stampeders will be thinking on the final week of the season if the playoffs are not a possibility. Do they get the first down here? No, they don't.
They don't.
And that might just about do it. It looked like a fairly easy gamble for the Stampeders.
Well, you know, and there's been rumors all season long. Michael Federick has been in some meetings, and I asked Wally Buono about that tonight, and that has not bothered him, according to the head coach. He said, you know, Michael Federick knows the game, and he's the owner of this football team, and he's come into some meetings, and we've talked about personnel, and we've talked about offensive game planning a little bit, and he doesn't really have a problem with that. Wally Buono has 2 years left in his contract, and he had a very calm way about him for this game, despite the importance of it, and I get the feeling that he's not going anywhere.
As far as leaving Calgary.
Yeah, unless Michael Federick makes a decision to get rid of him.
Here's Charles Robertson again. He victimizes Calgary tacklers, breaks a couple through there, and Greg Frères came over to make the tackle.
This was the third down gamble.
Sankey really didn't get down, did he?
Well, what happened was he dropped his head down so low, he got in behind the back of Jamie Crysdale, never really got a good push off. The surge was pretty good from that offensive line. They got the 1.5 yards they needed, but then Sankey got caught up in behind Crysdale and didn't pick it up.
So the defending Grey Cup champions are down by 2 touchdowns with less than 3 minutes to go. Charles Roberts stopped in his tracks. Gain there, and this should be the 3-minute warning. Antoine Young over to make the tackle. So are the Stampeders done like dinner? The odds are a little long right now. Stampeders are 2 minutes and 50 seconds away from missing the playoffs after winning the Grey Cup. Some thoughts from Wally Buono on that possibility.
Not making the playoffs would be very disappointing. Not because it ruins your record, okay, because what that, I mean, that's, you know, what you did 12 years ago means nothing, right? It's the fact that this year has not had any success, right?
2nd and 10, and Kahari Jones can't make a connection on the far side.
Well, he lost so many people on the defensive side of the ball to start the season. He lost his entire defensive line.
And it took almost 3/4 of the season to find the right personnel to help out on defense. They're stronger there now, but tonight the defense has not been spectacular.
Oh, and, you know, they got James Cotton back from the NFL tryout. They got Steve Anderson back over from Edmonton. That's where he started the season. That helped. Antoine Young, a rookie, started playing better. That helped. And then he lost a few linebackers. James Burgess. He lost Otis Floyd. It's just been that kind of year on that side of the ball for Calgary.
Westwood is wide. Antonio Warren slips in the end, so they'll add one more point to the Blue Bomber total.
Now, John, I will say this, though. In Week 9, Calgary Stampeders had a 14-point lead with 2 minutes to go, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers came charging back and won in overtime. Arlan Bruce was the key to it.
4 touchdown receptions for number 4, Arlan Bruce, including the game winner in overtime.
Yeah, he had that one, got them to overtime. This one won it for him in overtime. And, you know, there's 2 minutes, 22 seconds left. And now this time the Bombers have a 15-point lead. So let's not give anyone the win just yet.
Do the Stampeders have an Arlan Bruce in the lineup tonight? Perhaps Wayne McGarity, who has looked solid, but Stanky is decked there. With 2:17 to go, Calgary trails by 15. One of the problems for the Stampeders has been number 83, Travis Moore, without a catch tonight. He has been hampered by injuries all season long.
Yeah, he just hasn't been right.
And he is the best receiver they've got.
Yeah, and the most experienced. And the last time that these two teams played, Travis Moore had a huge game. I mean, Travis Moore, 190 yards on 9 catches and had 3 touchdowns in Week 9. And that's when he was healthy. And it went downhill after that. He's had knee problems. He's not 100%. He's really had problems shaking the coverage of Harold Nash tonight because he's not running full speed, and he hasn't seen the football because of it.
Stampeders set up at the 45 with a first down. Near side, Peterson has it, steps out of bounds. He has been the number 1 target of Ben Sankey tonight, number 8, Kamal Peterson.
But the panel talked about it a little bit at halftime, and if the Calgary Stampeders end up losing this game and are knocked out of the playoffs, the next 2 minutes are important to them. The next couple of games are important to them. It's an opportunity to show the coach that even though we're not fighting for the playoffs, I'm going to continue to fight every time I walk across the white stripe.
Sankey has that one tipped away. It was Brian Clark getting a hand on it, number 48.
You know, and talking to a lot of coaches, you know, assistant coaches and head coaches throughout the last few years around the league, they'll tell you that, you know, it's easy to watch a player excel when you're winning and things are going well. And sometimes it's more important to watch on the game film how a player reacts with adversity and when a team is losing. And how does a player then come and respond? Does he basically mail it in? Does he fold the tent? Does he keep competing? And that's what these coaches in Calgary will be watching over this next couple of minutes.
It's 2nd and 10, Stampeders all on the line here and now. And Kelvin Anderson couldn't hang on. So it flips to 3rd down with 2 minutes to go.
You know, Ben Sankey's had pretty good time to throw the football. He's moved around well. You know, you can never say it was the right decision completely when the team is down by 15 with just over 2 minutes to go. But Ben Sankey has looked pretty good. He's had a couple of drops. And really the problem has been they just haven't finished the drives off offensively.
Stampeders have settled for field goals. The Bombers have hit for touchdowns. All on the line here, 3rd down and 10 to go. And Peterson turns that into a first down. He has competed from start to finish tonight. Little shoestring catch there for Peterson to keep the drive alive on 3rd and 10.
Well, and this win, if the Winnipeg Blue Bombers hang on and win, is...
Oh, they'll measure this, Glenn. I was a little premature.
Well, if they can hang on, Dave Ritchie now has got his eyes focused on first place in the West. And that is not locked up completely yet. As well as Edmonton's played all season long, that's not a lock just yet.
Well, that is a first down.
Right. You had it.
You know, when they bring the chains out, you get a little nervous. A minute 52 remaining. Is that all that remains in the meaningful part of the Calgary Stampeders 2002 season? Sankey needs 15 points to get even. And that one is well over the head of the intent. Far side, he likely just tossed it away. Camille Loud was the closest Stampeder receiver to it.
Pretty good move to get away from pressure there for Sankey. Little spin move. And, you know, the one thing that the Calgary Stampeders will have to look to try and improve upon is their receiving core a little bit. Bring in some more competition.
Well, that's been the biggest area of concern this season, without question.
And again, on the defensive side of the ball, help out those quarterbacks a little bit more.
2nd and 10. Sankey has Peterson, and that will be another Stampeder first down with 1:35 to go. Remembering the Stampeders are down by 15, and if they can't get even with Winnipeg, they will be eliminated.
Well, the Stampeders are now with 1:35 to go are in that onside kick. They got to think this way. You get it in the zone, possibly go for 2. You're going to have to go for 2 one of the 2 times.
Might as well do it on the first touchdown if you get it.
And then try the onside kick.
Another first down. Another drop pass. Tunkara, that's the first one thrown his way tonight.
But that is the 3rd drop. That is the 3rd drop of the game. 2 by Kamal Peterson, who's really had a good game, and this one here by Ib Tunkara. Does a nice job to get open.
Should have had it.
Offensive forward pass interference. Calgary number 2. First down repeated.
Yeah, and he did push off, but I don't know about that call simply because it looked to me like Dave Donaldson was holding his ground and Tunkara was defending himself. Either way, that would have come back, but I mean, we'll take one more look. I mean, here's the one-on-one, and Tunkara trying to get up the field. Physical with Dave Donaldson, who's trying to jam him and slow him down, so I'm not sure about that call. You're allowed to fight for your position on the field. Donaldson's allowed to use his hands if he's square to the line of scrimmage like he was.
Stampeders set for the 9th play of this drive. It is 1st and 20 for Ben Sankey here. Looking deep to the far corner, and it's picked off by the ex-Stampeder, Marvin Coleman. .116 remaining. The Bombers lead it by 15. Winnipeg looks to be heading for the playoffs, and the defending Grey Cup champs apparently done. Blue Bombers, with 1:16 remaining, have another first down. Marvin Coleman's 4th interception of the season turns it right back to Winnipeg.
Coleman on the outside, playing the deep outside 3rd. You know that the Winnipeg secondary is going to be way off. And just a desperate throw by Ben Sankey, intercepted his 4th on the season.
You know, we on the road, we keeping this thing going. You know what I'm saying? Unfinished business is going down this year.
You know,
shout out to everybody.
That was the theme of the Blue Bombers season.
You know, this secondary, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, that may be the most consistent player in that secondary, Marvin Coleman.
Charles Roberts is in the game, and there was no gain there for Roberts with 49 seconds to go. Milt Stiegel, a record setter here tonight. No argument as we give him the game ball, is there, Glenn?
No, that's for sure. I mean, Calgary Stampeders tried zone against him. He beat that. They tried man against him. He beat that. And when they tried to double him with the safety, he beat that.
Game ball tonight brought to you by SportCheck.ca, Canada's choice for sports. Milt Stiegel, 22 touchdowns on the season, and that establishes a new CFL mark. Alan Pitts held the previous record of 21 receptions in the season on a single season. Antonio Warren lost the ball. Stampeders may get it back with 23 seconds to go, but time has run out. The defending Grey Cup champions Wally Buono has had a wonderful run as the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. 7 first-place finishes through the 90s, 3 Grey Cup appearances.
Well, it's really been amazing what he's done over 13 seasons, and you know, he as a head coach is to be proud to keep his head high and realize that he's in a rebuilding process. It really was last year near the end. I mean, that was a team that got hot at the right time and had a nice stretch run, went on to win the Grey Cup, but they struggled for a lot of that season. In fact, their record at this time last year was about the same.
Stampeders made it all the way to the Grey Cup last year with 8 wins and 10 losses.
What changed the dynamic this year was that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were in the West this year and not the East. That changed things up, although the records were the same.
Well, it changed the dynamic for the Blue Bombers a little bit, too. A little tougher for the Bombers in the West. When you look at the Winnipeg record coming into this game at 9-6, of course, 10-6 as a result of this victory here tonight. But it was a little easier sledding for the Bombers in the East last year with 14 wins, including 12 in a row. Almost another interception for Marvin Coleman.
Marvin Coleman upset he couldn't pad the stats. Get over there and get his 5th interception on the season. Mention how consistent Marvin Coleman has been. He and Harold Nash, who usually play together on one side of the field in this Winnipeg secondary, have been the most consistent. They've had 17 pass interference calls, none against Marvin Coleman this season. He has 1 pick tonight. Right there, almost had a second. Wrap this game up.
Well, the Blue Bombers have a playoff spot in the CFL West as a result of this victory, moving 2 points ahead of the BC Lions into 2nd spot. Sankey is down. Still a lot to be decided in the West, however, when you look at the standings. 1 playoff position in the West is still up for grabs.
BC plays Saskatchewan.
That's tomorrow at Taylor Field in Regina. And both BC and Saskatchewan still alive for a playoff spot, but so too are the Toronto Argonauts suddenly after that win over the Tiger Cats last week. So the Argonauts.
And Ottawa is not mathematically eliminated, although they are the long shot.
And long shots, yes.
But Ottawa still has a chance to finish 2nd in the East and therefore still has a chance to make the playoffs. Yeah, so all but 1 team still has a chance. We will see them on Sunday. Ottawa Renegades at Toronto.
Ironically, the defending Grey Cup champions are the team
eliminated. At the hands of the team that they beat in the Grey Cup a year ago.
Hey, in the league, baby, the clock went down.
And now in the West, as you look at the standings, the thought is who crosses over, and this is what they battle for as this season winds down with a couple of games remaining, 3 for a couple of teams. But Winnipeg moves into 2nd. But now which of the teams, Winnipeg, BC, Saskatchewan, well, BC or Saskatchewan basically now crosses over into the Eastern Division?
Unless the Ottawa Renegades run the table and everything else falls into place, because they can still hang in.
Well,
right?
either way, either way they got to finish
yeah,
2nd.
They got to finish 2nd, so that's not going to work. There you go. So it's over for Wally Buono's team of the dynasty team of Wally Buono. Milt Stegall has to remember, doesn't he?
Congratulations to Milt Stegall. Great season. He's not done yet. They've got a couple of games left. He can pad those stats. Bombers clinch a playoff spot.
Blue Bombers will be around for the postseason. The defending Grey Cup champions will have to play out the string. Calgary goes down to defeat 35-20 at McMahon. Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8.
When the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are playing, the TSN Turning Point is generally Milt Stegall. You play man against him, he'll beat you. You play zone against him, he'll beat you. And if you want to get some extra help with him, you know what? He's going to beat you. Record-breaking night for Milt Stegall.
6 receptions, 106 yards, 3 touchdowns, including that record-setting 22nd of his CFL season. Cash donation will be made to the Canadian Coaching Association for the training and development of Canadian sport on behalf of TSN and Super 8. All the room you need. Blue Bombers dance their way into the play.
Dolly struggling